Welcome to the Digital Roast. My name's Ranae Dodds and I am the Focus Branch Manager here in Christchurch. Thank you for joining us once again on our podcast. This is episode 4 of season 2. The last 3 episodes we've been talking about ERP and what it is. We've been discussing automation and business efficiencies around that, and also discussing modern reporting and how reporting and automation go hand in hand. Today is our final episode in this series, and we're going to be talking about the future of business software. And who better to talk about that with us than MYOB's Senior Product Manager, Marie Webb. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming along.
Not a problem.
First time podcast,
so bear with as we get into it.
Yeah, that's what I said in the first one. Bear with. Nerve-wracking, but modern way of doing things,
Absolutely.
Right? Modern platform of ERP, modern platform of discussing to people.
100%.
Cutting the edge, aren't we?
Absolutely.
I keep saying digital roast. Roast of choice. What is it?
Roast of choice. So I'm not a coffee drinker. I am a tea drinker. So in the morning, it's either green tea or English breakfast, depending on how much caffeine kick I need for the day.
Yes.
And then it tapers off caffeine after lunch. And so, but this time in the morning, English breakfast.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. 5 dunks. We talked about
5 dunks, no milk, no sugar, as it comes.
Yeah. That's how I like mine. I have in the morning cappuccinos. Yeah. 2 cappuccinos in the morning. In the afternoon, black tea, 5 dunks. It's green tea before bed. So keep the caffeine going all day. Okay, so we're going to talk about you, first of all. Yeah. To give me a little bit of a backstory as to how you've come to be sitting in the seat.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been in IT for longer than I care to admit for, and I've been at MYOB for 2.5 years. And so I've been working in this mid-market enterprise space now for a while. Previously worked in a variety of different organizations in a variety of industries, travel, board materials, working in London with companies in the US, and it's great to be more focused on the Australian, New Zealand market. It's quite different to the Northern Hemisphere and globally, and so really excited now to be focusing on ERP at MYOB. Yeah.
Excellent. So I didn't know all that you've been in the US and London.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah, and always IT.
Always IT. So I actually did mechanical engineering at university, which is funny because I am not mechanically minded at all. My husband laughs at that. Yeah. But job straight into IT, very lucky, fortunate to be working for an investment bank in London. So straight out of uni over to London there for 7 years. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Amazing opportunity.
Huge opportunity. Right? And it's only in retrospect, right, that you can look back and go, well, that was a chance of a lifetime. And has really set the groundwork for me in my career going forward.
Excellent. So lucky MYOB and lucky us that we get to leverage all of that knowledge that you have. And I'm going to unpack a little bit of that today and ask you some questions. So first of all, let's just kick off with what you're seeing around the cloud software space in general. Maybe talk about MYOB's product. We touched a little bit about on episode 1, but also just as in general.
So from a general perspective, if we look back on legacy ERP and where it's come from, right? Like ERP's been around for a while. It's had a big evolution over time. And legacy ERP was really there for efficiency and productivity. You had control over your system. Cloud, when it's come along, and it's actually rapidly come along, right? When you think about what you were doing 10, 20 years ago, there wasn't a lot of cloud first, right? And now it's really the go-to is cloud software. Cloud has allowed more automation in businesses, whether it be ERP or any organization really. And it's allowed customers to be, or businesses to be customer centric. So instead of your large monolithic big beasts on the server where you now have to be experts not only on your business, but how do you run a server? How do you upgrade software? How do there's cybersecurity I now need to be an expert on. cloud has allowed businesses to focus on the business of their business and not the business of being a cybersecurity expert or a hardware expert or worrying about daily upgrades and where is my data stored or anything like that. So it's allowed businesses to focus on their business instead of worrying about everything else. As we evolve in the cloud, of course, you can't get past anything about software without talking about AI, right? It's absolutely everywhere. Yes. It is the buzzword of the moment, and it's going to really accelerate the benefits of running in the cloud. It's going to be impossible for those legacy ERP products to take advantage of any of the emerging tech, whether it's AI or anything else that's coming along. So huge evolution there. The difficulty with the on-premise, right, is the tech debt. So tech debt, and I could talk for a long time about tech debt, depending on what the audience is. When I'm talking about tech debt on legacy, it's a bit more hidden, right? Because it's your software, it's your baby. You've had full control of that, but it is legacy. It has been around for a while. You've had to customize all of your business processes to meet the needs of a very rigid on-premise software. I liked this statement when I was researching for this podcast, and it was around tech debt is a bit like compound interest, but in reverse. Oh. So the longer that you stay on tech debt, the more you get, and the harder it is to climb out of it. So it's something that's a bit hidden. It's easy just to keep going with what you've got because it's kind of working, and you want to be running your business, not figuring out what to do with your software, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. That's a bit of the evolution.
And of course the investment, like that's hard, that a customer spent a long time investing, customizing, making it bespoke, making it work, and then some of these products don't have a roadmap. They don't have a pathway, and the client's sitting there with it. What do I do? And there's no compelling reason to force them to shift other than they know that they're heading down a track of.
And so those biases are really interesting, right? So those biases of that, there's a bias called sunk cost fallacy, where, well, I've invested so much money, I can't possibly move.
Yes.
But you have to look at what the opportunities are that you're missing.
Yes.
So you almost need to park that cost. And it's not just the dollar cost, right? It's that emotional investment. It's my baby. I've curated this beautiful piece of software. But it's not, you've got to kind of put that to one side and flip it on its head and ask you questions about, well, what if I don't move? Like, what is the opposite side? Status quo. That's the hardest thing that we fight for when moving customers into the cloud, right?
Yes.
Is status quo. And she'll be right. And New Zealanders are great at she'll be right. Yeah. She'll be right. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? Even like last year, we were doing a roundtables for customers on payroll and moving to the cloud. And everybody's like, my server's never gone down. We had over 19 customers where their payroll server had died, where they had reached out to MYOB to help them because their own server had died, So it does happen. It's not just once or twice a year.
Yes.
We have, over a dozen customers last year alone. And this was only 2/3 of the way through the year having issues with their servers. But yeah, that stays quo. And I bought a server 2 years ago and it's still got another 2 years life. It's hard.
Yeah. And that does become a compelling reason for change for people, is that server. When that becomes end of life, then it's not just a discussion around the server anymore. It's a discussion of, right, what do we do? Do we move to the cloud, and then are we just moving our ERP, or are we moving our file and our email and our,
and that's why you want to plan, right?
Yes.
You need that plan for what you would do, so that as things die, and we all know that those migration projects they're not overnight.
They're not easy.
They're not easy because it's not just changing your technology, right? You're changing your business processes. Because a lot of people think the way they're doing things now is the best way, but they forget the workarounds that they had to build 5, 10, 15 years ago in order
to fit the product
that they had. And now they think that's the best way of doing it. But it's not. And so you've got process change and people change is hard.
Exactly.
Like we're not, I don't think humans are meant for change. We're not, even the ones that say I love change, only when they're choosing change, right? When it's foisted on them. So you need to plan. You need to look at that where are those modules that are giving you the biggest grief? Where would be the best best place to go first in that migration pathway?
Exactly. And just adding that value, right? I mean, we would never want to do a lift and shift, because what would be the gain? Yes, there's some features in the product, but you're still going to end up with those same old frustrations. So it is a big old long journey. We've had a case study just come out recently from a client who's gone from an on-premise ERP to cloud ERP, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see that case study, but they've been on an amazing journey of automation. And we had a consultant talking in our previous podcast who was on that implementation, and it's just a real success story for everybody to actually just move away from that. Workarounds, performance can really start to lag on some of the older systems, put it on the new cloud environment, automations, reporting.
Oh, reporting's a huge one. We've had customers say that the automated reporting saved 20 to 40% of their time.
Wow.
From pulling reports manually. Excel, right? Everybody's running their $1 million business on Excel.
Yeah.
And now through the automation with cloud-based and MYOB at Chematica, they can now do other high value-added tasks. So that automation and the art of the possible, right? Like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a client who was talking the other day. They were saying that they've got 40 branches, and they will send out the management reports at the end of the month, and it would take predecessors maybe 2, 3, 4 days to collate all that and send it out. Now the financial controller presses a button, go and makes coffee, comes back, and it's just gone out to all 40, just like that. He says it's amazing. And it's great to hear those stories, right? And that's a cloud ERP that enables those efficiencies to...
And it allows that future growth, right? Yeah. So instead of, we've had a number of customers where they're wanting to diversify, particularly in this volatile world that we're in right now. Who knows what the economy will be like when this podcast goes to air. But in this volatile world that we live in, right, being able to focus on those strategic high-value tasks, to diversify and to do it quickly and not be hamstrung because of your technology. Like technology should be enabler. It shouldn't be the reason for your business unless you're in the business of delivering software, right?
Yes.
It should be an enabler for you to focus on your business and to grow without the constraints of, well, that's hard because my software doesn't allow me to do X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. So you were saying earlier that your background is the US and UK. Now you're in Australia and New Zealand. How are you seeing the adoption of modern software for the Australian New Zealand market? Are we embracing it? Are we?
I'm still gobsmacked that the question of moving to the cloud is still a question.
Right.
So in Australia and New Zealand, there's something like 40% of businesses are still running their software on premise. In the mid-market business, you generally don't have the same. So if you're a large enterprise, you can have servers running left, right, and centre. You'll have whole IT teams, right? It's kind of that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yes.
When we're talking about mid-market businesses, they're in the business of running their business, not running an IT team. And so the fact that they're even worrying about their servers is fascinating to me.
Yes, it should not be.
I'm like, why is this still a conversation in 2025, right? So there's still a long way to go of businesses really understanding. I mean, we still get questions around, well, what is the cloud?
Yes.
What is this cloud word that we're talking about? And so I'd like to come back to it. Think about it's a virtual filing cabinet. It's a virtual space that you no longer own, but other people take care of it for you. So at MYOB Chematica, we partner with AWS, who are world leaders.
AWS, just for the listeners.
Amazon Web Services. And they are world leading. And they... from a cybersecurity perspective, a lot of people feel that the cloud is, where you get hacked.
Risky.
It's risky. People have the perception of control when they've got, Joe down the road who looks after their server, but I trust Joe.
Yeah, servers in the back.
Servers in the back. I know it can't be hacked.
Yeah.
But those are where the problems hit, right? When you're, you want somebody else to be worried about it. I think of security, a couple of things. It's like eating broccoli, right? It's not my favorite vegetable, but you're meant to want to have to do it. But there's other people that love it and they love security, and you want those people on your team.
Yeah.
And so
Specialists.
you want the specialists, right? And so you want to be working with organizations where they have dedicated security people. They partner with cloud providers like AWS who are highly aware of all the things.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of acronyms, they're all like, I don't know why they have to come up with such complicated acronyms, but AWS, they've got credentials for HIPAA, high-tech, FedRAMP, GDPR, FIPS and NIST, like all the things, right? And it's from a global perspective. Global. So it means that we in Australia and New Zealand, we tend to be a little bit lagging when it comes to regulations compared to the Northern Hemispheres, particularly Europe, right? World leading when it comes to privacy and security.
Yes.
And so we can actually take the benefit of all those other regulations that the Northern Hemisphere goes through if we partner with providers like AWS, which we do.
Exactly.
So, you can be assured that they're doing it. Joe down the road wouldn't know what these acronyms are most likely. And so they're not going to be as able to protect your data.
Yes, because they're not as exposed.
They're just not as exposed,
Yes,
and they're going to be doing their best efforts, but they don't have that level of knowledge that a large group of people where it's their jobs.
Yes, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? I've never heard all of those.
Oh, they're all different. Like HIPAA's
That one I heard.
Yeah, HIPAA's one for in the US for privacy for health, as an example.
Oh, okay.
Where you have to protect that health data has an extra layer of protection.
Yeah.
All around security controls. But I love how they come up with all these different acronyms. You're like, what's that one?
Yeah. What is that for? Okay, so that's all very interesting, isn't it? So let's talk cloud product itself, MYOB at Chematica. Number one ERP.
It is number one ERP. It was very exciting. So that got announced at our Discover Live event that we held for the first time in Sydney a few weeks ago.
Yes. Which is where you and I met.
Which is where I see this time.
Doing the podcast.
Oh, yeah. We commissioned some research for the mid-market. So the mid-market is a powerhouse of both the Australia and New Zealand economies. And as part of that research, that's where we were identified as being the number one ERP, which is amazing. What we also identified is that although mid-market only counts for 3% of the number of businesses in New Zealand, it accounts for 23% of the GDP for New Zealand. Australia, it's slightly higher, 30%, but it's still a powerhouse of the economy,
Punching,
right?
Isn't it? For its size.
Absolutely. And due to the size of the mid-market, they are more nimble than our large enterprises of the world, right? They don't have so much red tape to follow, but they have the ability to fund innovation that the smaller businesses and the SMEs can't really do.
Yes.
So this mid-market businesses are really, they're able to innovate and be a lot more nimble than large and small. So, we keep hearing productivity, right? And we need to increase and improve our productivity in New Zealand and Australia. And so as part of this research that we did, there were 5 different areas that the mid-market businesses were looking to focus on as business goals over the next 5 years. And a lot of it was centered around growth. So we had 56 wanting to expand the business, 56% that is, 52% wanting to expand to a national level, actually 44 wanting to go international, 45% increasing our revenue and 44% starting to export. So very growth-centric is where that mid-market is really wanting to drive for. And so if you're wanting growth, being on a cloud platform allows you to scale, right? And allows you to easily expand because you're not hamstrung by, I need to configure it like this. I need a different instance. I can't now do my rollout reporting. Like all the things that might make that difficult becomes a non-issue in the cloud. The other priority that we found in that mid-market report was around innovation. And so the areas that mid-market businesses are wanting to innovate is around data, big data, analytics, AI tools, shock horror, AI tools, 30%, Internet of Things, and digital security. They were all things that mid-market businesses wanted to innovate on over the next 5 years.
Great. Good.
So that AI one's probably the big one, right?
Yes,
and what's AI going to look like? So everybody, normally when it comes to solving problems, and as a product manager, you want a problem first and then you give a solution.
Yes.
We've kind of had that thrown on its head over the last couple of years where suddenly we now have a solution with AI that we didn't know we had a problem for.
Yeah.
And so
and
now everybody's going, well, how do we use how do we incorporate AI? And so everybody is working to figure that out. And there's, the big players in the market, the Microsofts and the Metas of the world are investing millions upon millions of dollars on the technology. What has been really good with MYOB at Chematica is they've just taken a bit of a step back, and instead of rushing to the fore, they've really considered the best ways of integrating AI into the product as opposed to just bolting it on the side.
Yes.
And so one of the foundational pieces for AI, and in fact for data analytics and Internet of Things even, is around your data. If you don't have your data in a good shape and good quality data, none of the tools are going to be able to leverage it, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not in the cloud, you can't leverage it either.
Yes.
So AI is only going to get bigger and bigger. So if you're not even thinking about the cloud, you're already behind your competitors.
100%.
Yeah. AI is not coming to desktop.
No.
It's a fact. It's not going there. And it's not nimble enough. It doesn't have enough power. You need to be in the cloud.
Yeah.
So at MYOB at Chematica, we're thinking of AI in 3 different categories. So the first one is automation. Now, we already think we've got automation, to boot, right? But a lot of it still requires configuration or knowledge of how to tweak all the different options. Going forward, we're going to be able to see and describe automation in text. So think of reading in all the invoices to automate the accounts payable and things like that. OCR, and actually much smarter semantic interpretation of those OCRs. So in the old days, I was working on a project.
OCR.
So I don't even know what that stands for. On-screen reader. So it's when you're scanning your invoices, right? And you're trying to pick up where that needs to go. Gosh, 15 years ago, we were looking at building in OCR into a product that we were doing.
About it for a long time.
Yeah. This is in a different company. We were trying to do it in a travel company. And you had to build up templates for every vendor so you could say where the GST number was. So it was a very fixed and rigid, right? In modern OCRs and with AI, they're able to interpret things a lot more fluidly. So if the templates change or it goes, and so it can learn. So that learning part of the OCR is really important.
Smart.
It's smart, right? It's much smarter.
Yeah.
Advisors. So anomaly detection, right, is the second category, and being able to find those things that are out of pattern. That's something that's a bit different, right? Those anomalies, those outliers.
That's exciting though, right?
That's huge, especially for, where you want to you trust your staff, right? I mean, there's just been the one in the news recently where there was an employee that had, embezzled money, right? If you've got the smart anomaly detection, it can help detect the fraud aspect of it. So you don't need to just have your faith, you've actually got the evidence as well. And the third area, so we've got automation, we've got advisors, and we've got assistants. Now, when I first started doing assistants, I was a bit cynical. We've seen chatbots and they're a bit rubbish, right? They never, you start on the chatbot, you're useless by and large. But assistants are going to take a huge leap forward because they are smart. So they're able to understand context. I don't know if you've tried to use one and you answer the first question. No, this is a tweak on that. And they've got to start again. They're a rigid workflow, right? They've had a predefined set of question and answers built into it. With AI assistants, they understand context and they've got a lot more ability to learn from the data than the old chatbots used to have. So assistants is the third one as well. So automation, advisors and assistants is where MYOB at Chematica is focusing its investment in AI over the next 18 months. So, yeah. And then beyond that, God, I don't know if I'd want to be predicting AI at this point in time. Every time I go to use it, it is better than the last time that I used it. And so it's just a huge opportunity for growth, especially in ERP.
Oh, I agree. And I think, we don't know how to use it. Like when I was at conference and the product manager was explaining around these 3 things you talk about, the assistant and he was talking about some ideas, and I was thinking, gosh, like we actually all need to be educated as to not be letting this AI be a Q&A, but actually use it to do our task for us. And that's an education that I don't even know how we're all going to learn that, but we need to, right?
Yeah.
So as it evolves over time, we will learn
100%
how to make it work.
How to, what are the problems that it can solve for? As I say, it's an inverse thinking, particularly as a product manager, like we were trying to solve problems. Okay. There's now solutions to problems that previously we had all probably, unconsciously parked. Well, that's too hard and that's too hard. Yeah. Oh, the world is more your oyster now. And I think, learning from your kids or your nieces and nephews, right?
Oh,
and the things that they do with AI, they're just like popping it up. I've got my daughter's dyslexic, and the way that she's using AI is just, astonishing. I think it's a huge enabler for various parts of us as a society, but as a software provider, especially exciting time to be in software.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so exciting times ahead, right?
Yeah.
Of what's happening with the product. So definitely AI, buzzwords. Is there anything else that you can give us some insight into around the product?
Yeah, so the other area that's been a very heavy investment is around the UI. And so the technology that's kind of the UI, user interface. So the user interface, obviously, is the thing that you are using to interface with the product. So it's all the things on the screen that you can see. And it's got a bit of legacy tech. So actually, as a company, we're doing, we're walking the talk, and we're looking after our own tech debt and upgrading the technology. But that's significant, right? So every single screen that exists in MYOB at Acumatica is being ported over to what is being coined the modern UI. And so it's using a completely new technology stack, which we won't go into here because I think that's a bit technical of nature. Mm-hmm. But what it means is it allows for future opportunities to make the UI, we're calling it at the moment a bit snappier, but also a bit more responsive. So I don't know if you've been on some websites that you go to where they work really well on your mobile phone or on your tablet or on your large monitor if you've got the luxury of a large monitor. Mm-hmm. So that's not as responsive, right? Mm-hmm. And the older technology didn't really allow, you had to hard map everything for each monitor size. And the modern world doesn't really work like that anymore. It's very fluid with your monitor size. So that whole technology is being upgraded so that it's going to be more responsive, as in better suited to mobile, all the different monitors, snappier from a responsiveness perspective, and allow us to leverage opportunities going forward. So it's been a significant program of work for the team, and we've got a long way to go, but that's pretty exciting to start and get over that hump, right? But that's a big program of work.
And is customizable for the end user as well, right? For them to, more so than ever. There's been times that you can move the order of your columns and stuff around, but now there's actually the ability for them to take control of how they want their workflows to look in the UI.
Absolutely. And we were talking with, I was fortunate enough to go to the Acumatica Summit in Las Vegas, of all places, back in January, February. The quarter has disappeared on me. And I was talking to some of the senior technology folk at Acumatica, and they're like, oh, I just wish we'd done it a little bit earlier, because it's that foundational work in that UI is going to help AI as well, because it's going to be able to interact with it in a much more seamless manner. Yes. So I'm really pleased and fortunate to be working for a technology company that understands kind of having to do some of these programs of work that are kind of behind the scenes a little bit and aren't sexy.
Yeah.
And until months down the track,
podcast.
They're not, so it's great that the company invests in that for both the developers that want to work on products. They don't want to be using legacy tech either. They want to be working on shiny new stuff.
Yes.
But as consumers of that product as well. But it's going to be pretty impactful for yourselves as partners, for our customers that might have purchased other products to integrate with MYOB at Acumatica. Everything's got to be going along that journey. So it's pretty exciting. A lot of work to get through. So I would say the modern UI is the other element. And of course, we still have our, twice yearly big features, right, of feature drops. And we're going to see that accelerate once at Chematica, and we've moved off the modern UI onto different features. So, pretty exciting times.
Amazing roadmap ahead.
Yes.
Okay, well, Marie, thank you so much for coming in today.
You're welcome.
You can now add podcasts to your ever-growing list of achievements.
Onto my CV.
Another string to your bow. So well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow, that was really insightful. Thank you so much, Marie. We've had a real journey over our podcast. I'm talking about ERP and automation and reporting, and now we've been talking AI and UI, and just I think, Marie, you used the words as an enabler, like cloud platform is definitely an enabler for businesses, platform for growth. We could talk all day. I could rehash it all. This is our final episode. It's been great. It's been really insightful. It's been wonderful for me. It's the first time to have to do this. So I appreciate everybody listening. We are going to be taking a season break now, and I'm pretty sure our next series that will be coming will be around cybersecurity, which kind of dovetails with some of the stuff that Marie's been talking about today. So thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.